Three, two, one, action. What's up, everybody? Zach Evnesh here, Strong Life Podcast with my buddy, Joe DeSena. And today is the release of Spartan Fit, the book. I've got it right here. This is an advanced copy. I'm loving it. And I did like a quick post today on Twitter. I said, this book will make you punch your excuses in the face.
I like that.
Because I'm going to admit, I had the shoulder surgery in December. My body's just been feeling beat up, and I'm like, oh, I can't train like I used to. And then I read the intro of the one guy who
Jay Jackson.
Not Jay Jackson. Right after him, the guy I think was a triathlete, and he has like the hip. Is his name Jason or?
Yeah.
And then he goes and does like the 100-mile snowshoe trek, but he's like.
Jason Jack said, like I said to him, his girlfriend was with him.
Yes.
He was doing 100 miles on snowshoes, not to give the book away. And he was 60 miles in. This was a new girlfriend. And he comes into the barn. It was 10-mile loops. So now he's done 6 loops. It's late in the day. It looks like he's not going to finish on time. And she says, Joe, you got to pull him. He cannot continue. And I said, have you ever done 100 miles? And she said, no. I said, is he peeing blood? She said, no. I said, he's fine then. Send him back out. If he's not pissing blood, until he's pissing blood, he's fine. So punch your excuses in the face. I don't want to hear about your shoulder shit or whatever it is that you're talking about.
It's like, and I just went back. I said, like, I just got to keep it simple. I start going through the book, and it's like, okay, swim, run, carry stuff, throw stuff. Like, we're in this world, and you know it. Like, everything is just so complicated. It's like it's not complicated. People, it's like they almost feel like, I don't know if that's going to work. But I look at like some of the fittest people that are just durable, they're strong, they're healthy. They're not doing complicated stuff. They're not thinking about it.
The fittest guy I know, I call him Alex the Rake. All he does is shovel and rake all day long. This guy's like 70 years old. He is an animal. Just shoveling and raking all day.
Yeah.
You would not want to be in a dark alley with this guy pissed off.
What? Like, but here's the thing. So I'm almost going to like backtrack with you because I remember when, I guess like when you were coming out with Spartan Up the book, that's how you and I were first introduced. Like your press agent reached out to me and I was like, man, I need to know about Joe because I had actually been up to the general store when you were running the first. Yeah, so you were, Courtney came to the general store. I was there with Mark Devine, and we're like, where's Joe? And she's like, he has everybody doing like yard work. So I said to Mark, I was like, what are they doing over there? And Mark's hands were cramping. And I was like, man, if this Navy SEAL's like beat up, I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like Mark's hands were cramping up on him. He said from like wood chopping and stuff. I go, man, you probably must have been doing a lot of sledgehammer work. So when your press agent reached out to me, I remember saying to myself, I heard a little bit about Joe. And then when you and I spoke, it was like you kind of threw yourself into the extreme of these adventure races. You weren't really prepared for it. My whole thing is still like, how were you
thing is,
mentally?
I think this is what you get. In my opinion, the failure occurs in overthinking things. So today, I had a meeting at Sports Illustrated, and it was about 4.5 miles from where I'm sitting right here. And I had another meeting, an hour and change after it. And I said, you know what? I got like 50 pounds of bags. I could jump in a taxi, but I didn't work out enough today. I'm just going to carry them and move fast along the Hudson River. So, I didn't think about it much because if you think about it, you're like, I could be late to my meeting. I probably shouldn't carry it. I'll be uneven carrying the weight on one side. Like, screw all that. Just do it, right? Should I really chop wood for 8 hours? I don't know. Just start chopping. Jason, the guy in the books, used to say to me, Joe, what do you do when you bite off more than you can chew? I said, you keep chewing. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
don't overthink it.
We overthink everything, no doubt about it. And I think not just in fitness, but you look at everything from the schools to, let's say I got to go to like like a meeting for like a high school team or like a recreation team, everybody's overthinking everything. Where it's like, let's just go out and start doing this. Everybody's worried about when are our photographs going to be done? What about this? What about that? And because of that is why we don't see kids playing pickup football games. We don't see kids like out shoveling snow.
You know what I think people are doing, and I try to teach this to our organization. The point you just made, when people start, it happens to all human beings, including you and I.
Yep.
When you start analyzing and overthinking and talking about photos, subconsciously what you're doing is putting off the task.
Yeah.
Right? You don't really want to do the work.
Coming up with an excuse.
Right? So you talk about it, you discuss it. Well, what if this happens? Just get it done. I was with a farmer the other day, and he said, Joe, I've been dying to meet you. I said, why? He said, well, I think you were a lot like my father. I said, well, tell me about your father. He said, my father used to wake me up and say, get out there, you got to work on the farm. Because I was 10 years old. I look out the window, and it's pouring rain. And I said, Dad, it's raining outside. And he said, no, it's just 100% moist. And I said, no, Dad, it looks like a hurricane. He said, you'll be fine. You won't drown. Get outside. And so, but it made him a better person.
The adversity does. So, here's the thing. You're super busy. Yep. You know, you moved to Singapore. Now you're moving somewhere else. You're going to move to Japan. You already had a book. You're expanding Spartan Race. Like, it's like, okay, not only why do you write another book, but how the heck do you keep getting it done where most people, I was talking with a business owner today, and I was like, dude, most businesses, if I look in the downtown where I live, it's like in and out of business. People can't run one business, let alone expand business, write a book.
It's all, you got to prioritize, right? And you got to be relentless. And so if you're not going to prioritize and be relentless, you're not going to succeed. Forget about winning. So I got back to the hotel room tonight. I just did a dinner with somebody. I've been attacking emails all day long in between that walk I just talked about. Yep. All day long. Last thing I want to do is clean up my email inbox. Got to get it done. No choice. I got to do it.
You just got to do it.
Got to do it.
You got to, yeah.
Like I don't. So if you make those poor choices, if you decide to go drinking with your friends, if you decide that this weekend I want to relax, those little tiny decisions add up. You know what it's like? It's like if you and I were in a rocket ship, and you turn the little dial at the control panel. It's no big deal because you turned it a little bit, like a millimeter over. Well, by the time you get into space, you end up on the wrong planet.
Right. By
turning that thing, right? And so these tiny little decisions of going drinking with your buddies on the weekend, or skipping work, or whatever it might be, not waking up early, not doing the emails when you get back home, you end up on the wrong planet. Right? You end up in a place where you weren't planning on being because you didn't make all the right little decisions. So,
Marion, the show producer for Spartan Podcast, posted a clip of Amelia Boone this morning, and I guess that was kind of the question you asked her, and she's like, I wake up and I don't give myself the opportunity to even decide if I'm not going to be successful today, yes or no. She's like, that's all I'm giving the only opportunity I am giving myself, or the only option, is success.
That's it.
It's just
keep moving one foot in front of the other. Come on, you. That's why I love hanging out with you, because you're the same mindset. We just have one foot in front of the other. That's how you get there.
You got to just keep going, And I'm not gonna lie. Look, sometimes I'm like, man, because normal people will tell you, dude, it was so much easier if you were just a teacher. And you start thinking that way, and I'm like, yes, it is. And then, your mind kind of like could go all over the place. You have to be super careful of who you allow to influence you. So now that you're expanding into more countries, talk about maybe like some obstacles that
I face obstacles all day,
yes.
Every day. They never stop. I go into the bathroom, I take a piss, and I make sure I'm not peeing blood. As long as I'm not peeing blood, I keep moving forward. That's the message. I mean, it's soul crushing. The amount of BS you have to go through running a business, trying to write books, deal with publishers, get customer service emails, have partners in different countries. I mean, you can't imagine. You can. Most people can't imagine what it's like, right? It's easy to have a 9-to-5 job and just operate at half a level, right? Not go all out. That's easy.
Yeah.
But
or you could have 9 to 5 and try to climb the ladder of, I guess, I don't know, leadership.
There's a lot of rungs that are missing in the ladder, right? And there's barbed wire on the ladder, and it's on a rickety freaking floor. It's not even balanced. The ladder. It's hard.
Yeah, it's weird to see how certain organizations like schools and whatnot are able to like continue with all the rules they have against kind of being creative and going out and like, being out of the box. What are some of the things that, somebody posted a question here on Instagram. I'm kind of like trying to find some of the new lessons you've learned living in Singapore and now going to Japan. This Joshua asks, what motivates you, Joe, during low points in your life? If life is beating you down, what is your shovel? That's what he asked. What's your shovel?
That's a good question. I think for me, and you tell me if it is for you, Zach, but I think it's just not wanting to disappoint myself and others.
Oh, God.
Every chance I get, I try to talk publicly, not necessarily on a Skype call, but to your close friends and family that I'm doing this, whatever this is, and I don't want to let myself down, and I don't want to let others down. That's what's so awesome about having a purposeful mission. When I was working on Wall Street, the mission for me was just make money. But it's a lot more powerful to be changing lives. It's powerful. And so you can't let yourself fail at that one.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing was you said having a purposeful mission. I remember when I was my early years of teaching, I remember a lot of teachers would say, "Oh, you're not gonna have this energy all the time." And I always remember like going to school saying like, "I can't let this kid down. I can't let these kids down because this might be the best time he has or she has all day. This might be the only time this kid has a warm room." You know what I mean? And I remember it was just more purposeful than I got to get these kids moving. I took it into something deeper. And I think when you have that purpose, we spoke about this in the podcast a couple weeks ago. That's the ticket is that, and somebody interviewed me, I tell the kids, I go, I will burn my gym to the ground before I let lazy people control me if I let somebody tell me this is how you got to train people. Like my purpose is I want to build savages. I want Spartans. So you take these lessons and you apply it to your life. And I was listening to another guy, Derek Sivers. I introduced you to him through email. He used to live in Singapore. Now he's in New Zealand. And he actually spoke about that. So you have that purpose. He said, sometimes you got to be careful because if you start telling people you're going to do these things, you feel, oh, I just told people. Now I'm proud of myself. But I think if you have the purpose, you're going to be like, I got to do it. Purpose is the ticket.
Purpose is the ticket. It's your true north. That's what guides you through those low points. Your shovel.
That's the shovel. You have to. I always say you got to like think about like why, like what is driving you. Without that, and some people don't have that though. They'll still. I guarantee there will be questions that'll be like, how do you like? I don't know what inspires me. Did you ever meet somebody who said that to you?
Oh my God, thousands of people. When I had my first business, I was driving my truck. And every day I had a new person sitting next to me because the other guy either quit or got fired from me the day before.
Yeah.
And I'd look over and I can't tell you how many of them, I don't know what I want to do in life. I'm slightly depressed. And I'd say, who has time I'm so busy. Who has time to not know what they're doing? And so the other advice I would give those people thinking that way is get busy. Get busy doing something because if you're sitting around and dwelling on what you might like or what might be good for you, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be stuck. And so you got to get moving. Go work for a charity. Go work in a factory. Do whatever you can do. And that leads to things. You meet somebody, then you meet somebody else. And before you know it, you're doing great things and you're motivated.
I think people think there's no jobs out there. And the old, do you remember that self-improvement company called Nightingale Conant? They had a lot of Napoleon Hill stuff. And there was this, I used to listen to it when I had a CD in my car. Now it's all these podcasts. But I remember the one guy, he had this like deep voice, and the name of the program is called The Strangest Secret. And they're talking about kind of like the quote unquote secrets to success. And he said, he overheard somebody complaining like, I don't have money. Like this guy won't give me a job. And then the voice comes, he goes, did you hear those words? Give me a job. Like, and I think, what if you could, like you just said, go volunteer for a charity, go work on a horse ranch.
First of all, Zach, I get emails all day long like you do, right? Anybody could email me and say, hey, I want to come work up on the farm, or I want to. If they don't have their hand out and they're hard workers and they're willing to jump in, we might notice them. Next thing you know, they might be running Australia for who knows, right? So, like, that whole thing of there are no jobs out there, no. What that means is you're lazy and nobody wants to hire you.
No shit.
There is a job for everybody that wants to work.
Yeah, and I think in this world, we just, wherever, like, if you're in like a position of authority, whether you're like a school principal, a manager of a convenience store, you name it, we have to stop apologizing for expecting excellence, right? Just say the standard is excellence. Good enough's not cutting it. I don't care if you're tired, you've gotten into an argument with your wife, your girlfriend. You got to put your whole heart into this.
That's right.
That's it.
I have a meeting with my staff tomorrow, my leadership team. That's going to be my message.
Yeah,
our standard is excellence.
That's the relentless pursuit of excellence, and
I'm glad you don't stop.
Yeah, that's. I love that because we just overanalyze things, and I'm thinking I made a lot of mistakes managing and trying to kind of manage my gym and the coaches, and it was because I was always trying to help, be too helpful, be too nice. Then after something went down, I finally said to everybody, don't be a bunch of expleets. I said, that's the rule. I go, I don't care what's going on in your life. I go, you guys are here part-time. Put your heart and soul into it. If you can't do it, leave. Excellence is our only standard. And everybody was like, sounds good to me. We didn't complicate it. I said, figure shit out on your own. If something breaks, fix it. Don't leave it somewhere and if it's dirty, clean it. Show up early. Like, put your heart and soul into it. Leave tired. And I feel like
we used to say when we raced, if you're not hungry, you're eating too much. If you're not tired, you're sleeping too much. And if you're not cold, you're wearing too much. So I agree.
Be uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. Here's some questions basically about your own training. And I'm pretty sure I know the answer. This guy, Andrew, actually, where's the name? Guru of Gains. I love the names on Instagram. They're very funny. How often are you training? You still working out every day, right?
Every day. I don't miss. It's a very, very rare day that I miss. I train every day.
Is it always in the morning or?
What was the question?
Is it always in the morning?
I would say 98% of the time is morning. If I don't feel like I got enough that morning, I might do the walk like I did today or something, right? Or hit some stairs but I don't eat breakfast. I go right to working out, and then my day starts. I feel like it's like starting a car. When you the old cars, you turn the engine over.
Yeah.
And the engine's not started until I'm sweating.
Yeah, sweating. So, and I know I remember like when we worked out together, there was always a lot of like body weight work, running, of course the burpees, 100 reps, stretching incorporated with the strength work, a lot of stretching.
I gotta be mobile, I gotta be flexible, I gotta be strong enough, right? Some core strength, and then every chance I get, I'll get a little run in, even if it's a quarter mile, half mile, whatever. Run to town. Don't get in the car. I think it's ridiculous when you see all these cars with one person in them and they're running a quarter mile, a half, right? It's ridiculous.
I'm as guilty. I always say to myself, I'm like, I need to ride my bike here, but then you end up, the way the world is, we're so crazy busy. Here's let's see a good question here. Spartan Races is from Andrew. says Spartan races have grown immensely and popularity. There's many racers during each race. How are you dealing with the growth to make sure the experience is great for the veterans? Because I know you've got people doing the trifecta. People just keep racing. He goes, how are you making the experience great for the experienced, the veterans, as well as the new racers?
Well, we want to hold, as Zach said, a standard of excellence. So, unfortunately, for a lot of people, and at the same time, fortunately, we're not going to lower the standards. We're not going to make it easier for people ever, because then it wouldn't be a Spartan race. I wouldn't want to be involved. So we're always going to hold it at a high level of achievement. It's going to mean something to come across the finish line. You're going to be proud of that finish. The tricky part, as in any business, especially one that grew as much as we have, is how do you maintain a solid product all around the world? And that's just a matter of constantly tweaking and turning every day the dials until we get it right. Hiring better people, training the existing people, putting systems in place. It's a very complex issue that you have to deal with every day. But it's no different if you're a computer manufacturer, a car manufacturer,
What was, if we go back to, one Spartan race, and then all of a sudden Spartan races are expanding into a place where maybe you're not there. What was your thought when somebody offered you the opportunity? I guess it was with Reebok, where they're like, hey, we could help you have Spartan races happening all over the world. Was there a party that was like, nah, I don't know if I want to be that big?
Never about not wanting to be that big. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it. Otherwise, I'm not interested. So I like being out over my skis and going for the big time.
Maxing out.
Where the resistance came from for me is I'm not big. I'm very difficult when it comes to what sponsors to pick.
Yes, I know.
I drive my sponsorship team completely batty because they come with deals every day, and I turn most of them down.
Because sponsorship truly is about money. I remember when CrossFit came with the first sponsor. I can't even remember who it was. I was in Miami at their seminar, and they said, look, we're not saying we even endorsed them, but we needed money, and they came up with the most money. That's our sponsor. I can't even remember who it was. It was like 2010, and that gave me a little insight into saying, okay, there's sometimes you're not going everything in your heart because your business, the cash is oxygen, as Gary Vaynerchuk says. But you guys got Cliff Bar, you got Fit Aid, you got good stuff. You've turned down companies that, I don't know, could have been not really about the health.
Turn down companies every day, and we're very particular. Now, anybody that knows me knows you're right. Money is oxygen, so you gotta run that fine line. But yeah, I mean, if it was me, we'd only have water and celery.
So fun. What would you say?
I used to want to have like a big trough at the finish line, stainless steel with ladles, and that's how people would get their water. But the investors told me no, I couldn't do that. But
celery. What, if somebody, a lot of people are thinking about just doing a small business. Maybe they're a teacher and they're going to run a small gym. Or like I just was speaking to a guy, he runs a stand-up paddle instruction in the summer. Would you say, look, dude, don't just do it in the summer. Figure out how to get the website, do it in other states, certify. What advice would you give to somebody who's like, I think I'm just going to keep it small?
It depends if that business is scalable or not. Like when I had my construction company, it was a very hard business to scale. This business has been an easier business to scale and grow geographically all around the world. So it really depends on the business. When you're extremely dedicated or counting on labor to rent out your paddle boards, for example, in a bunch of different states, that's a risky proposition because you can't pay them a ton. They're probably going to set up their own paddleboard business outside of you that you're then going to be competing. It's a very tough one to pull off. So when you are stamping something out and growing it, you've got to have really good SOPs, standard operating procedures in place. You got to start, which by the way, practice what I preach, not what I do, because I have not been perfect at this. So I'm telling you this advice based on all my mistakes. If you're convinced that paddleboard business is a fantastic business, build an incredible infrastructure around technology, a CRM so you can collect all your customers' data, legal, accounting. So you've got tight processes. Build an incredible brand name, an incredible logo, an incredible mission statement. And when you got all that stuff laid out, well, then you can stamp it out around the world.
Yeah, and that's not easy for everything to be incredible. And you know, let's. I want to talk a little bit about the book, Spartan Fit. This is your second book. I know you recorded the audiobook. I'm excited. I'm excited to listen to that because I love audiobooks. This is a 31-day program. It's basically about like, and then there's different experts in there giving advice. We got Kelly Starrett, we got myself, Dean Carnazes, about just start doing stuff. What was your favorite part about the book?
My favorite part about the book was not reading it in Audible, because that was 3 days of hell for me, standing in a studio and being told, "Can you repeat that sentence with a little more oomph?" That was very difficult for me. But overall, the process was great. Talking to all you guys and everybody giving feedback. John Durant, who helped me write the book. I wrote a book. I had it all planned out. I wasn't very happy with it. Met John. John reworked the book. Then you guys got involved, and so really it was like a piece of metal that got heated and pounded over a year and a half. And now I think, listen, I just read it very slowly for 3 days in a studio. I think it's a pretty damn good book.
Yeah, I hope a lot of schools, I know the old high school I went to, I think they got rid of the books in the library, and it's all computers. And I always say, damn it, because the first book, I took a book out for 3 years in a row because I loved it so much. And I hope this book gets into the hands of just people so they start getting at least a little bit tougher.
What I wanted to do, the publisher wouldn't do it. I wanted to make it a steel back book, so it was like 25 pounds.
Yes.
So people would have to carry it around for strength training, but they wouldn't do it. They said the shipping cost would be too much.
That would have been very cool because you could ruck with it and everything.
Exactly.
That would have been cool. What closing thoughts would you have to, just everybody out there watching, listening? You're standing in front of a crowded stadium of thousands.
It is so easy to get fit. Stop with the excuses, as Zach says. Punch your excuses in the face. Be stronger than your excuses. Wake up early. You don't need anything but water. Get rid of the beer. Get rid of the alcohol. Get rid of the sugary drinks. Right? Fast once a month. Give your digestive system a break. Do some burpees. Go for a run. Take the stairs instead of an elevator. Walk instead of jumping. This is so easy. This is such common sense that if you can't get this right, I don't know what to tell you. We're giving you the blueprint. This is
the foundation. I've been watching some of the Jack LaLanne videos from the TV show, and the things that he says, would get people. He called like a kid. He's like, I tried helping this kid, and he was grotesque. That's the word he used. He didn't say overweight, a little bit out of shape. He said, you're grotesque. He just put him straight. And he goes, you got to start changing your mind. He said, life is a battlefield. And you got to win the battle every day.
I'm going to hook you up. We're going to do it, you and I. I'm going to hook you up with his wife.
Yeah.
Who's 90-something. She's still knocking out push-ups.
Yeah, they had an interview with her maybe 2 years before he passed away. She was super vibrant.
Awesome. Remind me tomorrow. You and I were going to get her on. We're going to figure out a Skype thing for people.
Amazing.
She's awesome, and she deserves it because they were like the forefathers of this whole thing.
Without a doubt. The juicing, he would exercise 7 days a week, lifting weights, body weight. Then he would go and do his swimming. And then I was looking at his challenges that he did, and it got me thinking about, because I was, you did those 3 crazy races in 1 week, right? What were the 3, over 100 miles? What did you do?
Vermont 100, Badwater 135, and then Lake Placid Ironman.
And the Badwater you have to get invited to, correct?
Yeah, Badwater was a tougher one, yeah.
You got to get you're getting invited to that stuff. And then you were in your 30s when you ran that, or in your late 20s when you did all those?
I was in late 30s.
Late 30s, which is when we see, I've run into some, my wife and her sister were talking about going to your 20-year reunion. I was like, man, 8 years ago, I ran into some former classmates, and I didn't recognize them. They're grotesque. They lost it all. They lost all the fitness. Whatever they're doing nothing. And Jack LaLanne did all his big challenges after 40. The swimming with the shackles.
Remember that?
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to close this out. What inspired me, I sent out an email about this. Went to Lake George last week, and I said, take the book with me, and I'm just fired up. I'm swimming. I go, tomorrow, I'm going to go kayaking. And I said, if I was with Joe, I know he'd take me across the lake. It's a little dangerous. You can get hit by a boat. So I said, I'm going to stay on the perimeter, and I'm just going to go till everything hurts. And I get in this small kayak, and it's a little wobbly. And I'm like, I don't suck that bad at kayaking. It can't be this wobbly. 5, 6, 7 minutes down, I'm teeter-tottering. Then I flip over. I'm like, son of a bitch. I flip over. It takes me like 10 turns, in and out, flipping over. Finally, this one time when it's over, and I just hang on it to rest. I'm breathing. I look at the back, and there's like a nice sized crack in it. And I was like, son of a bitch, it's got a hole in it. So I take it with one hand, and I side stroke easily over a quarter mile. And I'm like, it's only a quarter mile, but I'm just thinking of like this one guy doing the 100-mile snowshoe. And I just changed what you said, change your frame of reference. I'm like, this is a quarter mile. And I said, just get to that next boat dock.
Isn't it amazing that once your mind accepts that, okay, this is doable, right?
Yeah.
Then everything changes.
Because this is what I was doing. I'm dropping F-bombs. I'm like, I'm screaming. I'm like, man, the people in this like mansion back here must be wondering what's going on. I get finally to the boat dock before the lodges that we're staying. I walk up all the rocks. I'm like, I'm going to break my ankle. I pull the kayak finally over the boat dock, and I just put it upright. And for like 4 minutes, it's just gushing out water. I was like, holy crap, it filled the whole thing with water. And then I dragged it, and the kid was like, man, what happened? I was like, dude, this kayak has a hole in it. He goes, oh, sorry about that. And I go, I deserved it, dude.
What color was it?
I think it was blue. I go,
because I put that hole in it.
Dude, I said to him, I actually had a great time, and I needed this kick in the ass. It was just so meant to be. Because I was just...
I called him. I said, my buddy Zach, he's a big guy. He might be wearing an underground shirt. I said, I want you to put a hole in that kayak.
Dude, I'm telling you, I just changed my frame of reference, and I said, this is actually like, it's like a beauty in disguise. It's a gift in disguise. So I just grabbed it in one hand.
Did I tell you? I'm going to interrupt you. Did I tell you I was just in Scotland?
Yes.
This is how we'll end this thing. I was just in Scotland, and I get there for our championships, our European championships. And it's very misty, as it would be in Scotland. The mountains, the sheep, it's like Braveheart. It's unbelievable. And out of the corner of my eye, I see these things that look like dumbbells. They're tent weights. They're square, but they have handles on them. You carry them over to the tent. You clip the tent cables to them, right? So the tents don't blow away.
Yep.
Immediately, my mind says what your mind would have said was, I got to carry a couple of those.
Yeah.
Right? But I wanted to look away because I don't even want to get attracted to it. Right?
Yep.
Shut my eyes. But now it's too late. I've already said I shouldn't do it, which means I should do it. So the next day, they're telling me, hey, you're going to do the course. So I'm thinking, well, if I do the course, I got to carry these weights, right? And I'm thinking, if I carry the weights, I really need a bagpiper with me because it would be unbelievable, like you just described your kayak experience, if I was carrying these weights through the mountains while it was raining and there was a bagpiper following me playing the bagpipes. So 5 hours. I hiked mountains in Scotland. I dragged these 88 pounds of weights through the course. It was unbelievable. You would have been proud. Wow. So I'm with you when you say you needed that. I needed it.
Yes. So it's like...
I kept saying the whole time, this is a privilege. This is a privilege that I get to do this.
Yeah, and what happens is like if you just change your mind, because for the 10 times I was flipping over the kayak, I was mad. I was dropping F-bombs. And I was like saying to myself, you suck. Like, what's wrong with you? And then finally I said, you know what? Spartan the fuck up. I just grabbed it. I held the kayak and I held the oar, and then I just side stroked, and I said, "Get to the next boat dock." Boom. That's goal number one. Little success there. And then I just started having a great time doing it. So cool. This was awesome for everybody listening. Spartan Fit, the book just came out. It's on Amazon. I don't know if the audio book is out yet. I saw that it's on.
Yeah, Audible.
Oh, it's on Audible already?
Yeah. Why don't you give a couple away? Audible told me I'd give a few away. So do some kind of prize or come up with something. I'll give you a few.
Cool. I will post something on the blog at undergroundstrength.tv. And I want to really figure out something. I want to see I want people to, I want people to inspire other people. I think that's the pay it forward model, like the movie. Like, I help 2 people. Those 2 people help 2 people. So I'm going to have to come up with some sort of contest where people are giving, because that's what I want to see more of. I feel like, I don't know, this world is like, I just want to see more people just helping and not thinking so much.
I like that.
Cool. So we'll figure it out. We're going to give away some Audible gifts of Spartan Fit, the book. Very cool. I'm with my buddy Joe DeSena. Go to Spartan.com where you guys can see everything. And on Amazon is Spartan Fit as well as Audible. We're with the Strong Life podcast. And you guys got to listen to my favorite Spartan Up podcast. I love it. You guys are crushing it. Spartan Up podcast, amazing. I don't know how you're going to keep it up moving everywhere. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Everybody, thanks for listening. And we just awesome. Thanks for supporting both podcasts, Spartan, and it's awesome. Go rent a kayak with a hole in it.
Go get some weights.
That's it. See you guys later. Joe, see you, buddy.